Never fear of missing out by clicking that subscribe button and becoming another member of the Babylonian family. If you're after an LMG that can do it all, area of effect, mob clearing, single target damage, and have the clip size to be able to match, you've come to the right place. We're going to look into the Damascus offering, but first, BabbleOn is now partnered with Raffled Up, the one-stop shop to have the chance at scoring yourself some great tech at a low price. Raffled Up has made over 1,800 people happy with their competitions, ranging from store credit, GPUs, VR sets, and even full-on PC rigs to take your game into the next level. Keep your eye out for mega bundle competitions too for your chance to win several £1,000s worth of gear, all for less than the cost of a chippy. If you fancy your chances, make sure to use our partner code in the description below and save yourself some money while also supporting us as a channel. Best of luck and enjoy the content. That's right, Babylonians, welcome to another legendary guide, and that's we're covering today the Damascus offering light machine gun that's legendary variant. Now, obviously, what makes this, you've seen the splash card, but what we're really interested in is that tier 3 mod, which is the Claymore Torrent. Shots damage 4 enemies within a 6-meter radius with anomaly blades, dealing 98,863 damage, and this refreshes every 4 seconds. In the gameplay you're going to see in the background, I have paired this with Strings of Gorse, which you will have seen from a couple of other episodes, where shocks link up to another 5 enemies within a 5-meter radius of target and deal another 79,155 electric damage to each of them. So I have geared this to be able to deal as much area of effect damage as physically possible. I want to be able to take out any kind of mod that comes near me and just be able to wipe them from the face of existence. Now I'm running this with my standard Technomancer firepower build, which obviously you've got to know from all the other episodes that are here, and it does work quite well. It's an LMG, so obviously I've got the mag size to be able to accompany with it, and obviously constantly keep it filled up with toxic leg. The area of effect damage on this is nice. Unfortunately, I don't think it works quite as well as People Can Fly were expecting it to, because the cooldown on it is so high that it just doesn't really feel like it has the impact compared to some of the other guns that we've already looked at. 98,000 for something that is a tier 3 mod is kind of on the low spectrum when you if it was something that was happening every single second, then it would be fine. If it was 2 seconds, then, you know, it would be passable, but for 4 seconds, that is a long time to wait for a tier 3 mod to be able to recharge. I mean, that's like, you know, you can fit granted half of Moaning Winds in there, but Moaning Winds goes up to 1,000,000 points of damage, whereas I'm only dealing less than 100,000 with this, and obviously I can only fit 2 of these in the recharge of that. I just don't think it quite works. But like I said, this is more designed for you to be able to focus on a captain, and then any other mob enemies or trash enemies that are around, they will be then being dealt with by the tier 3 mod. So the gun is what's going to be the main primary focus for that kind of thing. Now this rolls with crit damage, status power, and skills life leech. Now only one of those really helps out with this gun, because the tier 3 mod doesn't do anything for status power, because we're not inflicting any kind of bleed or toxic or anything like that. Obviously the Technomancer build I've got, that will be doing that, but the gun doesn't do anything by itself to do that. And skills life leech is obviously, if I was to put blighted rounds on this, then I might be getting some kind of extra health from that, but I'm not getting it. I'm not benefiting from the tier 3 mod in that sense either. So only the crit damage really comes into it, and because this is a standard variant LMG, it doesn't get more accurate the more you fire. So you kind of, it doesn't really have the good rolls that you kind of expect it to have for a legendary rifle. None of this really complements what the gun should actually be doing, and that's a bit disappointing really. Looking at the stats on the gun as well, it is kind of a letdown, because apart from the mag size of 100, which is great, the crit multiplier is absurdly low at 110%. The reload is 2.5 seconds, which okay is kind of quick for an LMG, I guess. The rounds per minute is stupidly low as well at only 500. You will notice this, but the damage is kind of acceptable. It kind of reaches that of a fully auto purple assault rifle, which has a higher rounds per minute than this gun does. So I'm struggling to see where the legendary side of this gun really comes in. It feels like this gun is just there as a placeholder to be able to have that tier 3 mod, and nothing else really stands out. Now the stability is quite nice. It's 93%, so we're almost like top level stability, so your gun's really not going to deviate from like having much recoil or anything like that. So you'll be aiming, but obviously the recoil pattern itself will then spread out more, so it just kind of counteracts everything that this gun is pretty much designed to do, unfortunately. Please don't get me wrong, I like the Damascus offering. I think it's got a unique look to it. I like the idea behind the gun and behind the tier 3 mod. I just don't think it cuts it. That's the only problem for me. And I just don't feel like it really kind of like meets up to the expectations that legendaries kind of give. So if you were looking to be able to get to those higher tier kind of worlds and expeditions and all that kind of thing, I would not recommend this gun. Like I said, you can have some fun with this. This isn't like abysmal or anything like that. It will still be better than some of the blues and purples that you will be picking up in the game, but when you start getting into expeditions and you're getting those higher tier legendary weapons and those higher tier legendary mods and all that, this just falls off completely, and it's just such a shame. And I hope they do figure that out and they do buff some kind of damage to the claymore, because I think that's the key part for this gun. I think that if they were to focus on one element that actually makes this really good, it would be that part. And I'd love to see that buffed, maybe even double, or even shorten the cooldown so we can actually just constantly be barraging enemies that are nearby. I'd love to see them just for a day just buff this to 1 second cooldown and just watch everything just come down, crashing down on everything, and just watching mobs just melt. But that's just my thoughts. Obviously, maybe I'm a little bit biased in that kind of sense. Unfortunately for me, the Damascus offering does not currently have a place in the meta game, and as fun as it is to be able to deal with so many enemies that are nearby, and everyone just at the same time, and the idea of me having strings of ghosts just to be able to further amplify that, it just doesn't get to the heights that you need it to be able to consistently do those high tier expeditions and get those legendaries. So for me, I like the idea of the mods, I like the gun, but both are pretty kind of awful at the moment, and I would genuinely love to see a buff in that. So what I would recommend for this one is keep it in your stash for the time being. If you're not looking to use the tier 3 mod on another gun, and you've got better options in terms of firepower, just put this in your stash for the time being. See if they do anything good or funky with the gun. If not, just dismantle it and then just go to town. Anyways, that pretty much wraps up what the Damascus offering is bringing to the table, or its offering. Sorry, I had to make some kind of pun on its name at some point. So I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you've enjoyed the gameplay that's in the background. I hope you've learned something useful as much as you can with this gun, because it is a bit subpar at the moment, and I do genuinely wish that it will actually get better as time goes on. So I will be keeping this one in my stash for the time being. I have no use for the tier 3 mod, just for the moment, and then hopefully we'll see something in the near future. Don't forget, in our description we have the raffled up link and the discount code, so obviously get yourself over there, get yourself a couple of tickets, and just save yourself a little bit of money, and fingers crossed, hopefully you can win one of those competitions coming up soon. And as always, keep yourself safe, keep yourself well, and I shall see you on that next video.